Okay, so there it is. 2 hose clamps right up where the triple seals are, with plastic to protect it from damaging the triple seals there. I'm just going to let that set for a minute, then we will take it off and see if we can get the shaft to slide back into the gearbox shaft there. Okay, so I just pulled my hose clamps off, and the rings are much better than they were. Okay, so to get the seals in, what I'm doing is each one I slide it up to where it's supposed to go, and then gently tap it with a hammer. In any place that it looks like it's hanging up, I use some of my plastic to help shove the edge down, and it seems to work pretty good like that, hopefully with no... Okay, triple seals are in. Now we replace this O-ring, which is totally shot. Clean the groove out. Do that one more time. Okay, itty bitty O-ring. Slides on there. We have to put our metal clip back on. Need fingers of steel to accomplish this. Okay. Clips on, seals are on, rings are on. Nothing is leaking. The bolts are all tightened down, so I think we are ready to replace the pumpkin. Okay, one of the dodgy things about getting the pumpkin back on is you've got all these spline shafts that it has to mesh up with. Can't do much about this one because this is attached to the motor. But this one is attached to the gearbox. So what I did was put the car in 5th gear and took the handbrake off. And now if I roll the car back and forth, you can see that shaft is moving. So hopefully between manipulation of the pumpkin to try and get it onto these splines and moving the car back and forth to adjust these splines, we can get the splines to match up and the pumpkin to go on relatively easily. Yeah, sure. So I have my pumpkin up on my scissor jack, and remember you can actually spin the flywheel and clutch by reaching into the little holes. So you can spin that to try and line up with the drive shaft splines, and then rocking the car back and forth does the gearbox splines, and eventually it will slide on. And then you just put the bolts in. Okay, bolts are all back on. Remember to put the little spacer in that goes before you put the bolt on for the nut on to hook up the clutch hydraulic line. And now I'm going to have to bleed the clutch and hope that in the leakage of the brake fluid that it didn't deplete the reservoir, so I have to bleed the brakes too. Hopefully not. So don't forget to bleed your clutch and check your brakes to make sure they're okay, because they both share the same fluid reservoir. So if you lost a lot of fluid, you're going to lose your brakes too, and you'll have to bleed them also. Also, if you changed all the seals and there was a fair amount of dripping of transmission fluid, make sure you check your dipstick on your transmission, which is way down in the hole down there.